Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to play Blackwood by Philippe Tapimoket, published by Runes Editions. This is a worker placement game in which everybody is a witch or a wizard trying to gain access to the village of Blackwood, which is located next to a big magical forest where you can send out your minions to try and find magical ingredients to brew potions to impress the elders of the village so they'll keep you there. So let's open up the box and see how it plays. Blackwood by Runes Editions. So on the back you can see some explanation in French and English, some nice looking artwork, things you can do. Basically it's a short explanation of what you do in the game. Let's open it up. Okay, Blackwood. Here's a rule book in French and in English. Thank you for that. So there is a presentation and an overview of the game, how you set up the game. You can see all the cards laid out on the table, the board at the end, some tiles on the left, and we have the rules, of course, how you play it, optional actions, how the game ends, some background information on all the witches the players can be, and that's it. And it's all bound in something that actually looks like a tome, so that's nice. Then we have this board here, the edge of the forest, where you will lay out all the cards. Then we have some punch boards. Nope. Well, that came out very easily. So we have this. It looks like the village of Blackwood itself. We have some tiles here. I really like the artwork. It's kind of a little bit dark, but you know, like friendly dark. Double-sided. There's some money here. So 1 point and 5 point coins, silver and gold. More of these guys. Yep. And a basic insert with nice artwork on it, the BB in wood. So we have cards here. We have some extra Ziploc bags for all the tokens, which is always nice. We have a Ziploc bag filled with your meeples, your witch meeples. There's orange, white, purple, and black ones. They look really cool because they are witches. I probably would have made the purple a bit lighter to discern them from black a little bit more easily, because if you don't have good lighting on your game table, that may cause confusion. But, you know, okay, it's in theme. They're witches. So that's what's in the box. I'll just quickly open these cards. This has a handy little label here that I can pull. Oh, if it doesn't break off, that is. I'll just rip it open. Let me see. Oh, careful, Raymond. Okay. Sticky. So, what's this? We have all these look like actions because they all have icons on them. And they are double-sided. So, yep, all kinds of icons on that. We'll get to that later. So, and here more cards, all with the same back. And this is the forest, presumably. So you lay these out. What does that mean? I have no idea. Okay. So, some cool artwork. There's a toad, there's a bat here, there's a mushroom. So different kinds of points, 1, 2, and 3 on the bottom. 4. Okay, so these are the forest cards. And we have another deck of cards. Let me see, where can I open this? I always have trouble finding the start of these things. Okay. Good, so there's a player aid in French. So 4 of these. And on the other side, it's in English. So each player can take one of those. These are spells, also double-sided, French and English. So you can see what kinds of spells you have. So those are spell cards. Here are some cards with the witch characters on them, 4 different witches, and there's all kinds of different stuff on the back here. Okay, so that's what's inside the box. Let's do the setup. The setup of Blackwood is as follows. You have these tiles over here, and they're in 3 parts. Here is the village card, which you put at the start, and it has a round tracker here, 1, 2, 3, with this circle that you put on the first spot. And next to it is the forest board, and finally here is the hut of the wizard, whose name I forgot. But you can go to him for money, but it's at a cost. And these tiles over here, that's the guy. There he is. And he will give you 5 money, but he will cost you 5 reputation. So that is something you should try to avoid. There's a pile of money over there that you can keep in easy reach. And as you can see, there's plenty of cards here. We've got spell cards, and there's 6 different spells, and they are explained on this player aid card, which is English on this side and French on the other. And it explains these 6 spells with icons and a bit of text, and it also tells you in which phase you can use them. It's either green or orange, which I will explain in a bit. So that's a handy reference for these spells, and there's 3 of each. And depending on the number of players you're playing with, you use either 3 in a 4-player game, 2 in a 3-player game, and just 1 in a 2-player game. So you put those 6 out on the table, and you also take 6 potion cards, and there's different potions. There's 4 different colors. There's red, green, yellow, and blue. And they can be purchased for these ingredients in the white outlines here. And when you purchase them with these ingredients, you gain this amount of coins. It says plus with a number, so that can be any amount. I think it's 1 to 6 from the top of my head. And this is the color of the potion you get, which always corresponds to the color of the witch, and a number. And that number is basically your victory points, so that is your reputation, and you try to gain as much reputation as you can in order to win. And the back of the card has 2 figures, 2 sides, and this card basically means that you exchanged this potion for a spell, because these spells need 2 colors of potions, all of them. So this is red and green, and other ones have different combinations. And then you flip your card over, indicating that you used it, but you still have the 2 victory points, reputation points. But you can also sell a potion, and that subtracts 2 victory points, so leaving this one with 0. But you do gain 3 gold. So if you're in dire need of gold, then this is also an option to do with these potions. So there's 6 always on the board over this potion icon here. So basically this board just tells you where the cards go. Then you've got your forest board with the current position of your party in the forest, because you're going to venture into the forest in 6 steps. No, 5, sorry. There's 5 steps here. And you repeat that 3 times. So once you hit this and you go back to the start, you advance your round tracker by 1 and you start over again. So you go through the forest 3 times in a game. And each spot in the forest, as you go deeper, they all have 5 cards, depending on the number of players again. So this is for a 4-player game. With a 3-player game, you've got 4 rows, and in a 2-player game, you only have 3 rows. And you put all 5 spots. You put cards there randomly, you shuffle the cards, and you put the rest of the deck somewhere in easy reach. Same goes for your potions. The rest of the deck is also in easy reach. So that's all you have. This is the setup. You also get this handy player aid, which explains the rounds, or basically what you do in a turn, and optional things that you can do, and when you can do them. So you have that too, is also in French and English. So these are your three, they call them marionettes in the rule book, but I think that's just a literal translation from the French, the original rules. So these are basically just your minions, and you send them out into the forest. So that is your worker, which you will place on one of those forest cards, and there can only be one worker on each spot. So this is the entire setup. You also have this first player cauldron, which you hand to a random player, and that will be the first player for this round. So let's go to the rules. Start of the game, each player takes 8 gold from the stash, that's your starting money, and then you simply start at the first spot, like I said, with this round marker, and each player, starting with the player who has the cauldron, will place one of their minions on one of the tiles. Now you can pick any card you want, but at the end, after everybody has placed one of their workers on the forest cards, then they will return to you with the ingredient, so the card that they gathered, and you need to pay them the cost of that card, and then you get those ingredients. So for example, I'm playing orange, and you need to check which potions you might be wanting to buy, you know. So this one is is a cheap one. It gets you 4 gold, and it only costs 1 bat and 1 frog. Now, as you can see, these icons, I'll take this one, and this one has all of them. They are outlined in white, so you've got frogs, 4-leaf clovers, mushrooms, and bats. And those are also on the cards. I don't have one with all 4 of them, I think, so I'll just pick these 2 to show you that these icons are also on the forest cards in the same order, so your frogs, 4-leaf clovers, mushrooms, and bats. So the icons are the same on all the cards. They are a bit camouflaged though, because everything is in these thematic forest colors, so they're a bit hard to make out, but once you know where they are at, and well, they are you know, lined out with a white stroke here, so you can, you know, you should be able to spot them. So let's decide which card I want to buy. So perhaps I want to go for a cheap one, either this or this. So I need a bat and a frog. And this one does the same. And as you can see, this one gives me 4 coins, but only 2 reputation. This one gives me 3 coins, but 3 reputation. So depending on how much ingredients you spend on them, they get you more rewards. So let's go for this one. This one has a bat and a frog, so I could instantly buy one of these potions. Then the second player takes one of their minions, places them somewhere. Maybe he wants to go for, I don't know, this one only has a bat, so maybe he's going to go for that one. And the third player takes the meeple. You can also put it in another spot. So let's say, for example, this guy wants to put it over there, and this one wants to put it over here. Just an example. I could also put it there. It's basically, some cards are double, but just for example. So what happens then, that was the first phase. So the first phase is here. It's the forest exploration phase, indicated with a green forest icon. And you place one of your marionettes, your minions, on the forest. So we did that. Then the second phase happens, and that is return to the village. So determine the new first player for the next round. So how do we do that? Well, depending on where this is, the furthest player from this token in this row gets the cauldron. So in this case, that's purple. So purple player gets the cauldron and will be the first player during the next round. And then, after we've done that, we go to the second part. Oh, sorry, these are the spell cards. This one. So here it is. Resolve the column indicated by the forest tracker. All right, so our forest tracker is still here. And this guy, my meeple, is the closest to him, to this guy over here. And so I take my meeple back, I take this card, and I need to pay 3 gold to my minion. Yes, they have rights, you know, so I pay these coins to the stash, and I have those ingredients, so I keep this card. If I don't want to pay, or maybe I can't pay, then you just take the card and discard it, and it's nobody's card then, and you don't have to pay for it. So you could intentionally get rid of cards as well. So once a card has been taken, all the other cards slide to the left. So as you can see, this guy just slided closer towards where the current round is. So now the second guy over here, this minion, is the purple player's minion. He goes back, he takes this card, and he pays 2 gold. And these slide over, and as you can see, what happens now is that the black player is now also still in the first column because of the sliding over. So he takes back his minion, takes the card, it costs 3, he's got to pay 3, and these slide over as well. So there you have it. So all the meeples in this row have returned. That one is still deep in the forest and can't go back. He'll only come back once he's in the same column as this forest tracker. So right, so now during this phase you can still do stuff. So here you can see what you can do. So you can prepare a potion, which you can do during the exploration phase, only during the returning to the village phase. And these you can do anytime. So you can exchange potions for spells. Like I briefly mentioned before, if you have these potions, you can flip them over and exchange them on this side for a spell. So that means you've used that potion, and you need 2 of each color every time. You pay 1. So for example, these have red and blue, and then you take that potion, and you also have to pay for that potion. So the first, that's what this indicates, the first potion, spell that you buy with 2 potions costs you 2 gold. The second spell you buy costs you 3, and the third costs you 4, etc. So that's per person. So that's what that does. And these spells gain you benefits, which I will explain a bit later. So you can also cost a spell, which is what they do, depending on the spell. You can sell a potion, which I also briefly showed, for gold, but that makes you lose reputation. And let's see what else we have. We have ask for a little money of Phage's Bach. That's that guy over there. So you can also grab one of those tokens, lose 5 reputation, but gain 5 gold. That's Phage's Bach. So he's the creepy wooden guy in the forest. So that's basically all you do. That's a whole game. And so that continues. So after this round has been resolved, I can now still in this turn, I can still exchange this. So let's do that. I'm going to exchange this for, let's say, that potion. So I just put that away. I take this potion on my turn, and I take that, and then I gain 3 gold. So that's good. I can use those to pay my minions again in the next turn. So all the other players can do the same, and then once we've done that, this goes to the next part in the forest. We go deeper, and then the first player, the one with cauldron, is the first one to play a meeple, and they have a bat right now, and maybe they want something. Let's see, they could have gotten that one. They could have, but maybe he wants something more expensive. So perhaps he wants this one with the mushroom and 2 clovers. This means 2 clovers. That's pretty obvious that the icons, if there is multiple of one of those ingredients, then you need to get more of those ingredients. Oh yes, and of course, don't forget to refill any empty spots before moving this over. So we've got more new forest tiles here. That's that. So now I've got more choice again, and we're in this one. So if I place a meeple on the first column now, I could do that, but that means I can't return it until we've gone through the entire forest and we've gone to the second round, and then this one can go back. But you've got 3 meeples, so you got the choice to put up to 3 of these guys into the forest. And should you be, for example, in this round, and you've already placed a couple of meeples in spots behind the forest tracker, and I'm placing my 3rd meeple, let's say, over here, then that means I'm not getting anyone back. And if I'm still here or here, and it's my turn, and I've already placed them, then I've got nothing to place. So I have to skip my turn. But the positive thing is that in a future turn, I might get 2 of them back at once. So that's simply a strategy you have to figure out for yourself. So, right, so he's placed a meeple over here. He's going to wait until it's back because he really wants this card, which in this case is nonsense because there's better cards over there. And there's probably a similar card somewhere. You really have to pay attention to what's on the table. So this has a bat and a mushroom. There's one over here. Well, this one has a bat and this one also, but this one's taken, so I can't get it. That one has a bat and mushroom as well. Do I have one in the current row? No, I don't. So I think I'll put it here because that one is next. And then, so the black player places a card, and then it's my turn again. So on and on and on. And that's how you play the game. So let's explain these spells and what they do. They all have icons on them, as you can see. So they don't only have the cost of what you should pay for them, they also have this icon. And once you've used one of these cards, you can flip them over to their gray side, and you can't use them for the remainder of the entire round, so that means the entire forest exploration. And once we're here and we go back to the first part of the forest and this advances, then all players can flip these back and use them again. So you can use all these spells once per round, so a maximum of 3 if you manage to get a spell at the first round of the game. So that also means that once you're in the final, in the 3rd round, something I forgot to tell you, is that it's pointless to put a meeple behind it because you're not getting back there. So keep that in mind as well. So the spells, right. So they're all here. This one, which I just showed you, allows to exchange 2 forest cards in the forest. Basically swap positions. So if you're over here and you've only got these to go, but you really want one of those, and maybe it's the final round, and you were not able to get that anywhere, you can use that spell and just swap this one with that one, for example. So you know you'll be able to get it. And if you do that in the exploration phase, before you place your minion, then you can grab that card right away. So that can be very handy. The second one is also in the exploration phase, allows you to play a second marionette. So usually per round you can only play 1. And you can get more back, of course, like I said, if there's meeples already on the forest and they're in the same column. Once you hit that space, then you can get multiple back. But you can always just place 1, and this spell allows you to play another one. Here it says allows you to take a forest card without paying during the return phase. So once you are gathering back your meeples, your minions, then you don't have to pay for that. So that's a free ingredient right there. And this one, it says all the icons over here, as you can see with a question mark, adds an ingredient of the preparation of a potion. So basically means if you're short 1, then you can use that spell to conjure that missing ingredient. Also very handy. This one can be used in any phase, and it says allows you to take the first 5 cards from the forest card draw deck and buy one at half the price. So you basically just pick 5 cards from the deck, look at them, and then you buy one at half price. Can always be handy. And the last one, this spell here, it's a bit of a complicated iconography here. It allows you to force an opponent to displace their marionette onto a different forest card. Basically forces another player to replace their minion. for example, if you wanted that one, you can say, no, no, you're not going to put it there, put it somewhere else. And that player receives 2 coins from the reserve in compensation. So that's basically what that does. So that's 6 spells that you can use, and they can really help you during the game. So that's what those do. So it is very handy to, at the start of the game, I found, to get a couple of the cheaper potions, and then as soon as you can, exchange them on this side for a spell, and try to make use of those spells for as many times as you can. And if you're really in trouble with coins, don't forget that every time you brew a potion with your ingredients, you get gold. So don't forget that. That's very important. You get gold, so that will replenish your cash reserve. But if you're really in trouble, you can always decide on selling a potion, losing 2 reputation points, but gaining some gold. And if it's really, really dire, you can grab one of these, Phage's Bach, I think, and he gives you 5 coins at the cost of 5 reputation points. So, and at the end, you'll have some of these cards, and every time a card is taken, you replenish it with a card from the stack. And at the end, you've turned these around. You've either gotten potions for them, or maybe you sold them. That's that side. And you can make this nice panoramic view. And even if you didn't use a potion at all, you just count that number. So you can just flip it over to the positive side, as if you gotten a scroll with it. And then at the end, you count up these numbers, and you also count your coins, because for each set of 3 coins, you get a point of reputation. So take that into account. Subtract any of these if you had them, and then count up all your points, and the person with the most reputation points wins the game. In case of a tie, the witch with the least potions wins the game. And if there is still a tie, the witch with the most money wins the game. So that's it. That's how you play it. I'd like to thank Runes Editions for providing me with a review copy of this game. Let's go to my final thoughts. So what I thought of Blackwood. First of all, I really like the presentation. Even the rule book here, it's it's got nice artwork. It's very clear. It has easy explanation, although sometimes the translation from French to English is a bit wonky, but this is a very clear picture of the setup. It has all the steps explained, it has the potions explained, and the spells explained, the phases, the stuff you can do, and it even has some nice artwork and then biographies of all the witches, and Tapimoket the magician, who's basically the designer of the game, Philippe Tapimoket. And here is a bit of story on Phage's Bach and some sketches, and there's all kinds of nice stuff. So the presentation is really good, and this looks like a big book as well. There's these lovely minion witch meeples, also very nice. I've also heard that there are plastic 3D miniatures for this as well, should you like to upgrade your game, but I think these work just fine. Only minor thing is that black and purple is very similar. They're very dark. Now in a good light you'll see the difference, but if you're playing in a room that doesn't have a lot of light, or maybe it's a bit dark somewhere, then these will be hard to make out in a 4-player game. So if you're playing 3 or 2, I suggest not using these two together. Then the coins are nice. I've seen games that have coin tokens that look a lot less inspired, but this is really nice. There's, like these old-fashioned coins. So that's a nice touch. The cards are clear. I mean, the spell cards. This is a very nice and handy reference card, and it's very clear on what they do. And even the player aid here is handy. It explains the 2 steps during each phase in the round and things that you can do. So that is also very handy. So all in all, the presentation and the artwork and the rule book and everything is top notch. They really paid a lot of attention to it. So in that regard, production is very good. There's one minor thing I've noticed, that when you're playing because of all the similar colors and the theme, you're really peering over the playing field at all those icons, and then you're thinking, okay, well, this one has a mushroom and a bat, nothing else. Nope, no, nothing else. Okay, do I need a mushroom and bat? Yeah, I need it. So you're constantly looking back and forth to the spell, the potions, your stash of the stuff that you already have, and what you need next. So some people might find that difficult. Personally, I did not have that much of a problem with it. To me, they stood out enough, but it does mean that the dark art on the cards and the dark icons kind of make them a little bit hard to spot. So I would have personally preferred if the white outline was bigger, you know, so it was more clear, or even maybe make a bar at the bottom of the artwork with just a light background and the 4 ingredients next to each other, perhaps. And that goes even more so for these cards because, well, these ingredients are almost camouflaged in the background. So perhaps make the background a bit paler. I don't know. But that's really the only thing that can be seen as a little negative point about the game, because I really do like the artwork. It's very cute looking. It's an intuitive game. I think you can teach it very quickly. People pick it up very quickly. It plays in about an hour on average. If you know what you're doing, the first game took me a little bit longer to explain. But yeah, all in all, I do think this is a fun game. If you can get over the fact that the artwork might be a bit unclear to you, then I would certainly recommend at least trying it out. If you see it at a board game convention, or maybe a friend has it, certainly try it out. I think it's a very decent game, so this is getting a thumbs up for me. And that was Blackwood by Runes Editions. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and see you next time on Board Game Heaven.